Ladies and gentlemen, we often live in a world where the pressure to be liked and accepted is immense. We feel the need to always be friendly, to always say yes, to always be the one who is there for everyone. But what if I told you that being too friendly could be doing you more harm than good? Knowing your worth is the first step in cultivating a life of respect, confidence, and authenticity. Often we look outside ourselves for validation, seeking approval from others to feel worthy. We base our self-esteem on how others perceive us, how many people like us, or how many friends we have. But the truth is, true worth comes from within. It's about knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are valuable just because you exist, not because of anything you do for others or how they see you. When you don't know your worth, you become vulnerable to the opinions of others. You may start to prioritize others' needs and desires over your own, trying to please everyone around you. You begin to overcompensate in your relationships, sacrificing your peace and energy for fear that someone might not like you or approve of you. This constant seeking of approval can be draining, and it never leads to true fulfillment. Instead, it leaves you feeling empty, disconnected from who you really are. Knowing your worth means understanding that you don't need to change who you are for anyone. You are not defined by your failures, your mistakes, or the things people say about you. You are not defined by how much you give to others or how much others take from you. Your value is inherent and it's unshakable. The more you recognize this, the more empowered you become to set boundaries, to say no when something doesn't align with your values, and to walk away from situations that drain you. When you truly understand your worth, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop accepting relationships that are one-sided or toxic. You start making choices based on what's best for your own growth and happiness rather than what others expect from you. This doesn't mean you become selfish or unkind, but you develop a sense of self-respect that allows you to show up in the world as your authentic self without the need for external validation. It's crucial to remember that knowing your worth is not about arrogance. It's about self-awareness. It's about giving yourself the grace to be imperfect while still recognizing that you are enough. When you know your worth, you stop giving away pieces of yourself in the hopes of filling an emptiness that only your own self-love and acceptance can fill. Boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships and protecting your well-being, but too often they are misunderstood. Many people see boundaries as walls, barriers that separate us from others, shutting people out. In reality, boundaries are not about shutting people out or building emotional walls. They are about creating space to protect your energy, values, and sense of self. Boundaries are about teaching others how to treat you, and they reflect a deep respect for yourself. When we don't set clear boundaries, we can easily find ourselves overextended, emotionally drained, and frustrated. Without boundaries, we may feel like we're constantly giving of ourselves, trying to meet the needs of others while neglecting our own. Over time, this can lead to burnout and resentment. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is an act of self-care. It allows you to show up as your best self in relationships, whether personal or professional. By setting boundaries, you're not just protecting your peace. You're ensuring that your relationships are grounded in mutual respect, not in expectations or manipulation. A common misconception is that having boundaries means you have to push people away or isolate yourself, but that's far from the truth. Boundaries are about creating space for respect and understanding. For example, setting limits on how much time you spend with others or deciding not to tolerate disrespectful behavior doesn't mean you don't care about the people involved. It simply means that you value yourself enough to ensure your own needs are met too. Healthy boundaries allow people to be in your life, but they also allow you to protect your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. When you establish boundaries, you are not being harsh or closed off. You are teaching others how to engage with you in a way that honors both your needs and theirs. This creates space for deeper, more authentic connections. Setting boundaries requires communication, assertiveness, and sometimes difficult conversations, but it is necessary for growth and emotional health. It allows you to preserve your sense of self while maintaining meaningful relationships. By recognizing that boundaries are not walls, but tools for healthy engagement, you can create a life where you can be both compassionate and strong, loving and protected. In today's fast-paced world where social media often dictate the value of relationships, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that the more friends you have, the better your life is. We may seek validation in numbers, striving for a wide circle of acquaintances, followers, or friends. But the truth is, the quantity of your friendships doesn't determine their quality. What truly matters is the depth, the authenticity, and the mutual respect that defines your relationships. Having a large group of friends may seem appealing, but in reality, not every friendship will be genuine or fulfilling. Many people surround themselves with others because it feels good to be liked or to fit in, but not all connections are meaningful. The friendships that truly enrich your life are the ones that offer emotional support, trust, and mutual understanding. These are the relationships where you feel heard, valued, and accepted for who you are, not just who you present yourself to be. The energy you invest in friendships should be returned with care, compassion, and genuine effort. When you focus on quality over quantity, you give yourself the opportunity to cultivate deeper, more meaningful relationships. It's not about the number of people you know, but about the ones who make a positive impact on your life. These are the friends who challenge you to grow, who support you through tough times, and who celebrate your successes without envy. These relationships are built on trust, where both people feel safe to be their authentic selves without fear of judgment or criticism. Having a few close friends who truly understand you can be more fulfilling than maintaining a wide network of superficial connections. Quality friendships are those that stand the test of time. They are the ones that grow stronger through challenges and adversity. They are the ones that offer you emotional sustenance and true companionship, not just in moments of happiness, but also in moments of sorrow. When you prioritize quality in your friendships, you also create space for personal growth. You stop spreading yourself too thin, trying to keep up with everyone. Instead, you invest your time and energy into the relationships that matter, allowing those connections to blossom into something genuine and long-lasting. By valuing quality over quantity, you ensure that your friendships are real, supportive, and meaningful. Relationships that bring out the best in you and contribute positively to your life. It's easy to fall into the trap of overextending yourself, especially when you have a desire to help others or to please those around you. We live in a world that constantly demands more of our time, more of our energy, and more of our attention. The pressure to be constantly available, constantly active, and constantly giving can feel overwhelming. Yet, the truth is that by overextending yourself, you may be doing more harm than good, not only to yourself, but to the very relationships you are trying to nurture. When you overextend yourself, you are essentially spreading your energy too thin. You give a little of yourself here, a little there, trying to be everything to everyone, and in the process, you end up with nothing left for yourself. The consequence of this is often burnout, physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion that leaves you feeling depleted and disconnected from your own needs. When you're constantly busy helping others, you can lose sight of your own well-being, and this creates an unhealthy imbalance in your life. Overextending yourself also means that you begin to prioritize others' needs over your own, which can lead to resentment and frustration. You might start to feel unappreciated, and the effort you put into relationships or responsibilities can start to feel like an obligation rather than a choice. The truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving without replenishing your own energy, you're bound to burn out, and eventually you'll have nothing left to give. It's important to learn to say no when you need to. Saying no isn't a sign of weakness or selfishness, it's an act of self-preservation. It's a way of setting boundaries that ensure your time and energy are spent on the things that matter most to you. By overextending yourself, you compromise the quality of your actions, your work, and your relationships. You may end up doing a lot, but not doing any one thing well or with the level of care and focus it deserves. Taking time to rest, recharge, and reflect is just as important as the time you spend giving to others. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. When you take care of yourself first, you create the space to show up for others in a way that is sustainable and meaningful. By learning to set limits, you ensure that you remain whole, balanced, and capable of living a life that is both fulfilling and healthy. Authenticity is the foundation of true self-expression and meaningful relationships. In a world where it's easy to get caught up in what others expect or how we are perceived, staying true to who you are can sometimes feel like a challenge. However, embracing authenticity is essential for living a life that feels aligned with your values and aspirations. When you show up as your true self without pretending or wearing a mask, you open the door to genuine connections, personal growth, and inner peace. Too often we feel pressure to conform, to be the version of ourselves that others expect, or to fit into a mold that society has created. We may hide our true thoughts, desires, or emotions, fearing judgment or rejection. But in doing so, we lose touch with our real selves. When we suppress who we truly are, we risk living a life of inauthenticity, one where we are disconnected from our own needs, desires, and values. This disconnection can lead to feelings of emptiness, dissatisfaction, and even resentment, as we constantly strive to meet external expectations that don't resonate with who we are at our core. Being authentic means embracing your imperfections, your quirks, and your uniqueness. It means recognizing that you are enough, just as you are, without needing to change or hide parts of yourself to gain approval from others. It's about being honest, not only with others, but also with yourself. Authenticity is about acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses without shame, standing firm in your beliefs, and being open to growth and change while remaining true to your core values. When you are authentic, you attract people who appreciate you for who you really are. True relationships, whether personal or professional, are built on trust and honesty. When you show up as your authentic self, you allow others to do the same, creating an environment of openness and vulnerability. This fosters deeper connections where you can be fully present and engaged without the fear of judgment or the need to constantly prove yourself. Moreover, living authentically allows you to live with integrity. It helps you make decisions that align with your values, and it empowers you to pursue goals that resonate with your true desires rather than those imposed by outside influences. It gives you the freedom to say yes to what truly matters and no to what doesn't, creating a life that is fulfilling, meaningful, and true to who you are. In a world that is constantly busy, where noise and activity often dominate, we tend to underestimate the power of silence and space. Yet it is in these quiet moments that we can find clarity, recharge our energy, and connect with our deepest thoughts and feelings. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It is a powerful tool for reflection, healing, and personal growth. Learning to respect and embrace the power of silence and space can profoundly impact your life, allowing you to gain perspective and deepen your connection with yourself and others. We live in a society that values constant activity, where there's a belief that being busy equates to being productive. However, this rush to fill every moment with noise and stimulation can leave us feeling overwhelmed, disconnected, and mentally exhausted. In contrast, silence provides an opportunity to pause, step back, and create mental space. It allows you to reflect on your thoughts, assess your emotions, and reset your mindset. It is in silence that you can hear your own voice, rather than the distractions or expectations of others. It's in these quiet moments that you can truly tune in to your inner self, allowing for deep introspection and growth. Space, whether it's physical or emotional, is equally powerful. It's about creating boundaries that give you room to breathe, to step away from the pressures and demands of everyday life. Space allows you to disconnect from external distractions, providing you with the time and freedom to nurture your own well-being. It's also essential for cultivating healthy relationships. When you give yourself space, you are not only giving yourself the chance to reflect and recharge, but you're also respecting the needs of others. Healthy relationships thrive on the balance of time spent together and time spent apart, where both individuals can grow independently while still maintaining a strong connection. Respecting the power of silence and space also means learning to embrace moments of stillness without feeling uncomfortable or guilty. In a world that constantly pushes us to do more, silence can be seen as a form of resistance, a rejection of the societal pressure to be constantly occupied. Yet, in silence, we often find the answers we've been searching for, gain new insights, and experience a sense of peace and clarity that cannot be found in constant activity. It is within this space that we can truly connect with ourselves and move forward with greater focus, intention, and purpose. In embracing silence and space, we give ourselves the opportunity to pause, reflect, and reconnect with our inner selves. It is in these moments of stillness that we find clarity, strength, and direction. By respecting the power of silence and space, we not only enhance our own well-being, but also create healthier, more balanced relationships with others. Remember, it is through moments of quiet reflection and intentional space that we gain the insight needed to move forward with purpose, peace, and confidence. So let's stop being too friendly. Let's stop seeking validation from others. Let's create boundaries that protect our peace and choose relationships that nourish our souls. Remember, you are enough. You always have been. Thank you.